Gentlemen, respect is an equation. Part of it is how you look, part of it is how you speak, and the most important part is who you are. Today, I'm breaking down the 3 levels of earning instant respect, starting with the moment you walk through the door. Let's start with level 1. The visual. Before you open your mouth, people have already judged you. Here is how to win that first 5 seconds. Dress like the man in charge. If you are underdressed, you're going to feel out of place. If you're way overdressed, then you may feel out of place, but really it comes down to your mission. Because if you're a lawyer at a construction firm, you're going to probably outdress all the other men at that firm. Why? Because you have a job that's about paying attention to details, doing that paperwork, and keeping that company out of trouble. You can dress up if your profession calls for it. But when it comes down to it, guys, think about the environment. Think about your personal needs. Think about your body type. All this stuff I talk about in my channel, which I will link to additional videos down in the description, which go into a lot more about how to dress for your body shape and all that stuff. Next up, stand up straight. Pretty simple. Roll the shoulders back and stand up straight. It's going to make you look stronger, taller, more masculine, and you're just going to come off as more confident. So a lot of times when people walk into a room, they go into the shadows. They go into the corners. You don't want to be that person that's sulking, hiding in the corner, making yourself smaller. You want to, again, find a group that you can join into, or again, even leaning up against a table in the middle of the room. And let's talk about fidgeting. Now, fidgeting is actually natural. It's something that we do to soothe ourselves. When we're nervous, when we've got a little bit of anxious energy, the problem is fidgeting can be perceived as weak, as something that makes you look really nervous and you're out of your element. And let's talk about having direction. So when you walk into a room, make sure that you've got direction. You don't want to just hang out near the entrance, walk around aimlessly. No, you want to go somewhere, and I think straight to the bar is perfectly fine, to grab a drink. You feel comfortable, you got something in your hand, and you gave yourself time to scan the room. That's the next thing that you want to be at this point doing, is looking around and seeing who can you talk with, who can you engage with. People that are standing by themselves, oftentimes haven't gotten past this point. And guess what? They are so easy and they're so thankful for someone to oftentimes just come up and start to speak with them. But what if no one's standing by themselves? You just see all these groups around. Well, then go ahead and insert yourself into a smaller group. You want to look at body language at this point. So notice, are people open up or are they really close to each other? Be careful of groups where people are having a private conversation. Oftentimes they're going to be leaning in, they're going to be closer to each other. Maybe they're talking over a table. You may want to be careful of those. Instead, find ones in which people are giving each other a bit of space and there's a natural place for you to be able to step in and then introduce yourself. Now that you look the part, you have to sound the part. Level 2 is about verbal respect. This is where most men lose the room because they rush or they mumble. Speak slowly. So what you don't want to do is fill your conversations with us, with, basically crutch words. All these things that we fall into, like this, like that. You know what I'm talking about. It makes you sound less intelligent and definitely doesn't make you sound like an authority. Take the time to think about what you're going to say. Slow down. Now, this next one's a bit of a power move, and that is when you're speaking, don't be afraid to pause. Pausing can do a number of things. It can invite someone else to think about what you just said and to respond. It can also help really emphasize a point and it can be a very small point. But oftentimes we move so fast in our conversation that we don't have time to think. And when you pause, you slow the conversation down. And this is can be a very powerful power move that you can leverage. When you speak to be heard, many people out there, they talk and they just mumble. They're barely getting out the words in the conversation. You know these people. You want to speak so that no one has to say, I'm sorry, what did you say? Next up, when you speak clearly. When you're speaking, try to be very clear. And maybe even if need be, some of you guys, if you've got a really bad lisp, go work with a speech coach. I know when I was a kid, I did have to work with a speech coach. And it's something I still have an issue confusing my R's and my W's, and I can't pronounce things really very well. When we think of courage, most of us think of a single event, something that, really sets somebody apart. You run into a burning building and you save a child. In combat, you're getting shot at and you go off and you save your friends. Yeah, that's cool. And that's definitely a sign of courage, but that's very rare. Most of us will go through life and never face a situation like that. But we do have situations every single day that are small, that are minor, but require courage. And you got to ask yourself, are you stepping up? When you see a friend or a colleague that's being mistreated by the boss, and you don't say anything because you don't want to put your job in jeopardy, but you realize that this person who has nothing to give you, why aren't you standing up for them? Or look around. I mean, there's so many examples I see. Somebody over on the side of the road, somebody that needs help or assistance. And yes, it's going to inconvenience you. Do have the courage to do what's right. When you disagree with what's being said and everyone's laughing, and obviously it seems like you're the odd man out, do you have the courage to voice your concerns? You've got to practice being courageous. It's not one day you wake up and you're heroic. Every single day, you've got to practice doing those small heroic acts. Because then when the big moments pop up, and they don't always pop up in their lives, but when they do, you will then have the courage to do what's right because you know that is what you have always done. And it doesn't feel courageous. It just feels that you are doing what needs to be done, what a man would do. You've mastered the look and the talk, but instant respect will fade in 5 minutes if you don't have the substance to back it up. Level 3 is the engine that powers everything else, your character. Manliness, a lot of people think it's the opposite of being a woman. That is not true. The opposite of manliness is being childlike. It's not about men versus women. This is about you growing and about you as an individual. When you think of a child is selfish. A child can't think for others. A child doesn't plan for the future. A child doesn't put in the work. A man, on the other hand, he builds the strength and the wisdom to understand that he needs to do this, that he will put others in front of himself, that he will go out there and he'll do work for something maybe unforeseen with a promise, knowing that he's investing in the future. There's nothing wrong with accepting who you are and working and striving every day to become that man you know yourself to be. When I think of this, I think of commitment. I think of having the resolve to see things through to the end. So many people, they've told me, you know what? Yeah, I tried it. And I tried 1,000,000 times. I'm like, really? Did you try 1,000,000 times? No, they didn't try 1,000,000 times. Did you try 1,000 times? No, I didn't try 1,000 times. Did you try 100 times? No, they tried once. And if that actually, sometimes they didn't even try that many times. Here's the thing, is if you really want to achieve anything in this life, you've got to go for it. You got to be a bulldog. You got to bite right into it and not let go. Commitment, resolution. I see so many people think that things are going to fall into their lap. They think that if you work hard for a few days, that somehow you are entitled to something. When you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, or when you're going after your dream job, understand that you're going to throw quite a bit out there. How many applications have you put out for your dream job recently? 0? Well, that's probably why you haven't landed it. 10? In the last, 10 days, 10 months? Go out there and start putting out a lot more. Get some laser shot ones. Create some videos and tell people how you're going to transform their business, why they need to hire you. You see obstacles out there, but you realize they're there for other people, not for you. You are going to find a way. You're going to go through that wall, around that wall, but that wall will not stop you. The next virtue is industry, and this is you providing value to the world. So one thing I learned pretty young is that there are 2 types of problems. There are money problems and there are relationship problems. And if you can take care of the money problems, then life is a lot easier because you're still going to have lots of issues with relationships, but you don't have to worry about putting food on the table. You don't have to worry about rent. You don't have to worry about how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to be able to get the repairs done on my vehicle? I know a lot of you guys are still working on that money side. I'm still working on that money side, but I'm getting closer to financial independence. And with that being said, gents, if you're looking for a community of like-minded warriors looking to become their best self, men just like you, gents, I'm linking to our private group, HWP, down in the description. Go check us out if you're serious about becoming your best self. It's a group for professional, mature men looking to become their best selves. We focus in on health, wealth, and purpose. If this all sounds interesting to you, learn more by clicking on the link in the description. And remember, gents, the key here is action. Action through group and individual accountability so that you can take the steps to become the man you know yourself to be. Check out the link in the description of today's video, and I will see you in the community. Now, this next virtue, honor, I think is another one that's misunderstood. When people think honor, a lot of them think reputation, like my honor's on the line. That is one way of looking at it, but when I look at honor, I look at who are you on the inside? This is your integrity. Are you a man of your word? I love what Rob Roy said. If you've never seen the movie, great movie, but he talks about honor is a gift a man gives himself. And I love that because this is really how you view yourself. And are you the man that you know yourself to be? Are you living up to your ideals? Are you doing what's right even when nobody is looking? And this is tough because it's easy to cheat. In fact, they've said that 90% of men would cheat on their spouse if they thought that nobody would ever find out. So are you going to be that 90%? Are you going to be a man of honor? And are you going to fulfill your promise? And that's why honor for me is one of the most powerful ones. In fact, over here on this challenge coin, it was one of the core values of the United States Marine Corps: honor, courage, and commitment. Hence why I had this coin made. And here's the beautiful thing about honor. You can work on it every day. And every day you have an opportunity to be an honorable man. Just because you weren't honorable yesterday doesn't mean you can't be honorable in this moment, and you can't be honorable in this day. So what video to watch next? How about you peek inside my combat journal? I've got this video right here where I talk about the lessons I learned journaling for 20 years. And I go through and I read some of the stuff that I wrote in this journal. Some pretty cool stuff, some very interesting points in this video. Didn't get a whole lot of traffic. I think it's actually a great video. So go check it out, guys. I will link to it down in the description.